I'll actually start if that's all right. I love footy and I love our game. And I think the position we have as leaders of the community, we need to do the best job we possibly can around discrimination. And we've got, I don't know if anyone saw the Eddie Betts social media post from yesterday, but we got some stuff that I don't want to go into it and all that, but I just want to put it out there that if you have any form of racism in you as a Hawthorn person, we're not interested in having you as part of our club. So while we're all enjoying a fantastic win, and we should all be enjoying it, unfortunately, some parts of our Hawthorn family can't enjoy it because of what heroes on their keyboards think that they're capable of doing. And any one of those who ever wears brown and gold, we don't want you. All right, so sorry to start it off on a melancholy tone, but I think it's important that I add to the voices who take a stand against anything to do with racism and vilification. Look, I don't want to go into the details of it, but you're in the ballpark.
How does it make you feel when you're reading stuff like this as coach, and you've been there as a player as well, reading this stuff on social media, to give these people that are doing this stuff a bit of context as to how it feels on the other end? What's it like?
I mean, I haven't read it personally. I mean, I'm not a social media scroller too much, but I think it's hard as a coach because you see what the players put into their work, and when you miss a shot on goal, or when like the amount of effort that goes into every single thing that these guys do on the field, and every team, I'm not just talking about Hawthorn here, every player that is playing there just leaves so much of their life in a football sense. And for that to be called out because of how they look is just, honestly, grow up. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Do you hesitate at saying anything publicly, knowing that it gives these people oxygen?
100% I do, and I've spoken to some, before I came in I spoke, that's why I'm a bit upset I guess, but I spoke to some people involved and said, is this something you want me, because I only want to help the people who are affected by it themselves, and when they are affected, all I can do is support them in any way that I have the power to do, and I get the power of a press conference. Do you want me to support that, or does that make it worse? And the comment was, I think we need to show as much support as we can, so I decided to do that. I don't want to overtake the whole press conference, but I just thought it was important that I added my voice in a time when, I've got people who should be celebrating who are they're celebrating still, but there's a, black dog following them around, if you like.
Sam, just for a little bit of context, was this something that happened today or previously?
Yeah, that's an incident from today, yeah.
And social media was a lot.
I don't want to go into too many. No, I believe it. I don't think it was a. No, it was. Yes, it was social media.
Social media.
Yeah.
And to the game, fourth win in 5 games for the Hawks. Pretty good, and it must have been pretty impressed. You guys dominated that first half, kicking 10 of the first 12 goals of the game.
Yeah, I thought they had some times in the game when they were right on top of us, but they weren't able to hit the scoreboard. They missed some opportunities going inside 50, and I was really pleased that we kept the foot down for the majority of the game. I think we're showing more and more maturity as a group, and the players they have a great understanding of what our best looks like. Produce it, and so we're doing that more and more often, and it's taken some time to get to this point, but we're finally at a point now where we should be competitive against every side, and that we talked pre-season about we'd like to put ourselves in winnable positions more often, and we've been able to do that over the last 5 games, winning 4, but the best teams, they're competitive and in winnable positions in 20 games in a row, not 5. So we know we've got some work to do still, but certainly a little bit of extra evidence today that our best will hold up.
How important is it back line, you guys pushing up, just make sure they're really gelling all together and providing the attack?
Yeah, the backline's been a bit of a work in progress. I think obviously we lost Blanky in the pre-season, and he was sort of a lock in that area at the time, and I think when we we've been mixing and matching a little bit in the back half, and Carl has gone back there as well. from his more traditional wing for the majority of his career, and I think his running power has rounded out that group nicely. I thought Sis was really good today. I thought that Jack Scrimshaw, he was last week. He coming back off his suspension, he was probably a little bit off, and I thought today he was back to his best. And the way that the defence, they complement each other pretty well, and we were able to keep them, to 2 goals in the first half. I think they're working well together.
Do you take credit for Scrimshaw's form that against?
No, I think the thing about the Scrim is he was one of those players who could have been a wasted talent. And not to say he's a finished product right now, but he was so talented and had done things reasonably comfortably for the majority of his career. And he's played 100 games and he's still playing in the 2s last year. And so the fact he's been willing to put in the work and make some changes to his game and become the consistent performer we see now. I think when you look at Jack Scrimshaw from maybe a couple of years ago, he either he would play well on. His stats would be good, but maybe defensively not as strong. And now he's a well-rounded player. He helps the team. He helps the team defensively. He helps them offensively, but he also helps them verbally with setup and structure. And he values all the things that actually make wins, because the things that make wins, they don't all go on a stat sheet.
Yeah, Reeves comes back in today, Sam. Obviously, Lloyd Meek had a really good run as number 1 ruck. Reeves comes in, has the 7 score involvements. You win the clearances, and the midfield keeps rolling on like it has been for the last 5 weeks. What was the message to Noodle for a game?
I guess to Ned, he is an opportunity. I think when you're playing at Box Hill, opportunity will knock at some point for a lot of those players, and you need to be ready to take it. And his opportunity knocked, and he'd been playing okay, really, but I thought he really took his chance today. And I think when you're building a list and you're building a squad, you need depth in positions, and to have 2 ruckmen who can both stand up at AFL level is, I think, vital. You look at every strong and consistent team in the competition; they all have that, and so. Now having Ned, and we'll see what happens next week with Meekie as well. That now the fact we've got 2 ruckmen who are both vying for the number 1 position, and we know both of them can get the job done on their day. I think it builds confidence in the squad.
Colin Nash seems to do a lot of work without the ball. Obviously, he doesn't get credit for it, and then kicks a goal in the last quarter. How nice is it to see Nash be able to get on the score?
Yeah, Nashy, I think. He's a big, he leads our tackles most weeks, and he leads our, what you call selfless acts. And there was a fantastic piece of vision of him last week chasing Lachie Neale with 3 or 4 minutes to go. He's just sprinting across the ground to shut down, one of their most damaging players. And Nash is one of those players. He usually plays better than the stat sheet suggest. People who didn't watch today probably say, oh yeah, Connor Nash, 17 and a goal, pretty standard. But if you watch the game and you recognise the role that he plays, he's in the ruck for quite a bit of the game, and he's still able to produce running power. So he's an important part of the midfield mix, and perhaps he's a little bit less heralded outside our 4 walls, but I think the players value and playing with him pretty highly.
So you've had 9 individual goal scorers the last 2 weeks. You must be really happy with the forward line cohesion, but probably more importantly, delivery inside 50.
I actually thought we were a little bit off in the delivery this week. I thought their defenders actually, I think Belace took 5 or 6 intercept marks, and he actually did some things that caused us some trouble. I think Hinge had 30 touches and caused us some trouble. So our forward line, we're putting up better scores now, and we've got a bit more efficiency, 60 inside 50s or thereabouts today. And so when it's been a work in progress. A lot of new, if you look at, it's probably 5 forwards that played down there today, if you include Hardwick, that weren't there last year. And so their chemistry has been a work in progress. And Adrian Hickmott, has done a great job with it so far, and hopefully it'll continue to build.
Jack Gunston's 7 goals in 2 weeks now, 250th today. How integral is he to Hawthorn Football Club and over his journey and now as a player at Hawthorn after coming from Brisbane?
Yeah, I think it's a great story and a bit of a fairy tale for him today. And I think I still, regardless of the goals that he kicks, I've been so consistent in saying his biggest value is what he's doing off the field. He's just like an extra assistant coach for us. He's helped that forward line chemistry that you mentioned. He's continuing to help us build that and to make sure that, I think if you look at the forward line today, Dylan Moore, he kicks 5 and has 20 on. I think Jack Ginnivan had 5 or 6 shots on goal and had over 20. And that's all from off the back of the learning that they're getting from from Jack Gunston, Luke Bruce, Adrian Hickmott, these guys who continue to work on their craft.
Is the vision, Sam, Will, which is some words with Ginnivan 3/4 time? Do you know what sort of said there? Or so far enough up, do you think, or was he get stuck into it?
No, I had a bit of a. I got warned that there might be a couple of questions about that. But so they're a really close. I sort of call them the Rascal Pack. Like there's this whole little group of players. They spend all this time together, and they've all got their celebrations and all those things. And basically, I think what was happening is they were getting into Guinea because his two best mates are right in front of him, and he didn't see them, and he had a shot at goal. So they're like into him about that. And then Daisy's like, "That's a boy," like made up for it. And so, I think the banter that those guys have, and in a fun way, they're having great fun playing footy as young men in their early 20s. But by the same token, they've started to hold each other to a high account. And so if you look at us as a group, I think they're a good snapshot. They started off in their careers having fun, and perhaps not doing everything they should be doing. And now when they go outside of what they know there is the best thing for the team, they pull each other up, and so the coaches don't need to get involved, and they're basically running themselves. And I thought the maturity that younger forward group showed today, so Guinea, Morey, Connor McDonald, Kel Shadir, I thought the maturity that they showed today, after a bit of a rough second quarter, I thought that that was a big part of the win, and that goal, right on 3/4 time, I thought was vital to it, and Daisy recognised that moment and was sure to pass it on.
CJ got done, or got reported for headbutting. Any concerns from your perspective about that one?
Yeah, I don't want to. I deliberately don't look at anything to do with the MRI or get involved in it before these, because I'm not going to add anything to it. But he's a really important player for us. He's just come back from long injury, and he's we tried to get him off as soon as we thought it was safe to do so in the game. We know that we've got to continue to manage his minutes and those things. He's an important player, and we'll see what happens during the week.
You beat Brisbane last week. Now you come up against another top 8 side in what you will probably start favourites. Just the importance of continuing what you've been generating mid-season.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we'll start favourites. I think the vision that I've seen of GWS, which is not extensive at this point, but I mean I think their best is as good as anyone in the competition. They're, in the early part of this year in particular, their offense, defense was just unstoppable, really, and they've got some of the best players in the competition in every line. Whether it's Hogan, Green, Kelly, Whitfield, Taylor, you can reel off the best 5 of their teams as good as anyone's, and I think haven't seen too much of them in probably this little period as we prepare for them. But I think the challenge for us is we know that at our best we can compete, and as Sydney showed us a few weeks ago, when we just drop a little bit, our pressure's not quite as good, that we're going to get a touch up.
It's probably one of the most unpredictable seasons we've had in a long time. Are you guys a top 4 team? Who knows?
Are we a top 4 team? It's boring. This will definitely come up on all those funny shows, but it's the last thing I'm thinking about is anything ahead of GWS. So just so you get the quote, it's definitely a 1 week at the time part of the season for us.
Just take one more if you've got one.
You spent the last quarter on the bench. You did that last week as well. Did you think that was important with Adelaide getting some momentum in that third quarter?
No, I went up to the box at the start of the quarter just to see. I thought Adelaide might try a couple of things, and they certainly did. But we felt like we handled them not too bad. So really, I knew Jack was on the bench, so I just wanted to go down and tell him to enjoy the last 10 minutes, and he was able to do that. And I thought him kicking that last goal, there was a bit of something poetic about it, and I think we love the theatre of the game, and Jack Gunston kicking the last goal of the game in his 250th after the story that he's had, and his family here, and the 2014 reunion being on. I think there was something special about it that we, as a football club, should be proud of.
Thanks, Sam.